While progressing in life, at times we feel stuck due to the lack of knowledge of how to manage our time well. Deciding how to prioritize the different facets of daily self-management gets hectic, whether it's for school students, university students, or working people. The lack of motivation, a great amount of workload, and the expectations at the academic front, in college, or at one's workplace is draining for an individual. Under such circumstances, a helping hand can instruct and support us in setting the right direction for our goals. At MentorMitr, we engage with individuals wherever they are in their journey of career development and help them learn life skills to manage complex situations while enhancing their potential and performance to optimum. Our involvement helps individuals to set the right goals and create options by following an objective process, thereby enabling them to define and manage their priorities. We help them generate self-awareness and teach them how to prioritize their time effectively. We also enhance their emotional quotient with techniques like mind mapping, success and failure to reinforce their goals, while also grooming them with soft skills that are necessary for the competitive selection process, thus making them confident and prepared for success. While progressing in life, at times we feel stuck due to the lack of knowledge of how to manage our time well. Deciding how to prioritize the different facets of daily self-management gets hectic, whether it's for school students, university students, or working people. The lack of motivation, a great amount of workload, and the expectations at the academic front, in college, or at one's workplace is draining for an individual. Under such circumstances, a helping hand can instruct and support us in setting the right direction for our goals. At MentorMitr, we engage with individuals wherever they are in their journey of career development and help them learn life skills to manage complex situations while enhancing their potential and performance to optimum. Our involvement helps individuals to set the right goals and create options by following an objective process, thereby enabling them to define and manage their priorities. We help them generate self-awareness and teach them how to prioritize their time effectively. We also enhance their emotional quotient with techniques like mind mapping and dealing with success and failure to reinforce their goals and processes, while also grooming them with soft skills that are necessary for the competitive selection process, thus making them confident and prepared for success. While progressing in life, at times we feel stuck due to the lack of knowledge of how to manage our time well. Deciding how to prioritize the different facets of daily self-management gets hectic, whether it's for school students, university students, or working people. The lack of motivation, a great amount of workload, and the expectations at the academic front, in college, or at one's workplace is draining for an individual. Under such circumstances, a helping hand can instruct and support us in setting the right direction for our goals. At MentorMitr, we engage with individuals wherever they are in their journey of career development and help them learn life skills to manage complex situations while enhancing their potential and performance to optimum. Our involvement helps individuals to set the right goals and create options by following an objective process, thereby enabling them to define and manage their priorities. We help them generate self-awareness and teach them how to prioritize their time effectively. We also enhance their emotional quotient with techniques like mind mapping and dealing with success and failure to reinforce their goals and processes, while also grooming them with soft skills that are necessary for the competitive selection process, thus making them confident and prepared for success. While progressing in life, at times we feel stuck due to the lack of knowledge of how to manage our time well. Deciding how to prioritize the different facets of daily self management gets hectic, whether it's for school students, university students, or working people. The lack of motivation, a great amount of workload, and the expectations at the academic front, in college, or at one's workplace is draining for an individual. Under such circumstances, a helping hand can instruct and support us in setting the right direction for our goals. At MentorMitr, we engage with individuals wherever they are in their journey of career development and help them learn life skills to manage complex situations while enhancing their potential and performance to optimum. Our involvement helps individuals to set the right goals and create options by following an objective process, thereby enabling them to define and manage their priorities. We help them generate self awareness and teach them how to prioritize their time effectively. We also enhance their emotional quotient with techniques like mind mapping and dealing with success and failure to reinforce their goals and processes, while also grooming them with soft skills that are necessary for the competitive selection process, thus making them confident and prepared for success.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome you to our webinar. The steps to avail the certificate are as follows. Attend the full webinar. Once you see thank you displayed on the screen, there will appear a link to the Google attendance form in the chat box. Click to mark your attendance and get the feedback from email. Fill the questionnaire that you receive on your mail for the details and follow our page on Instagram and Facebook. If the above steps are followed, an e-certificate will be automatically mailed to you. MentorMitr is mentoring organization. Our aim is to guide students who are in school and colleges, as well as working people, in goal setting, stress management, time management, enhancing emotional intelligence, and providing soft skill grooming. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to today's webinar on managing behavioral changes in the pandemic. The session will be led by Mr. Anil Sharma and Ms. Achal Chathart Alag on understanding the key concepts of behavioral changes and managing it during the pandemic. Now, I would like to introduce our speaker for the evening, Mr. Anil Sharma. Passionately and compassionately works with the youngsters, mentoring them and coaching them, learning about them and learning from them. His learning is understanding how Generation Y and Generation Z think from observation and working with them and not from books. Anil has rich corporate experience in leadership positions. His background in engineering and MBA. Sir, the stage is all yours.
Hi everyone. Good evening. Anil Sharma, as introduced, is my name, and many of you might have seen me before. And I was when the topic was being discussed with me, I was thinking, what should I talk on behavior? I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a behavioral expert. What has happened, however, is that in last 25 plus years of working, I've interacted with a lot of youngsters, and I keep observing them, and I keep observing the behaviors which have changed in last three generations. So one, which is us, we called Gen X, and then Gen Y, people were typically between 25 to 35, maybe 37, 38, and Gen Z, which is like youngsters. And I find that while with each passing generation, the human intellect is improving. Uh, so one generation is able to pass on a few things to other, while few remain. And there comes a generational gap about understanding the same thing, which is like reality. We can't deny it. And there have been reasons why it happens. So as you see this screen, am I audible, Mayank, and visible?
Yes, sir, you're audible and visible as well.
So when you see this, what happens? You and your word is where. So I'm actually gonna talk more to Gen Y and Gen Z today. So what happens? The orange circle is you and your word, which is, you know, which has got closer and closer. The white circle outside that yellow circle is your immediate family, your relatives, your acquaintances, people closer to you. You know them physically, or you remember them, who they are. You are somehow related to them. And outside that is whole world with whom you are dealing with, about 7 billion people, right? And I marked some area where which is your conduit to the word, or the conduit of the word to you. Now, how much you allow somebody to come to you and vice versa is a lot depends on you. I was reading this book by Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People, and he says you can make more friends in 2 days by reaching out to people than in 2 years waiting for people to reach out to you. And how do you actually reach out to people? More electronically, digitally, especially Gen Z, and then in the same order Gen Y, and then the other generations. One is physically you meet people. You go out of this circle and traverse from this white circle to blue circle, make new relationships, new friends, and uh, and it also sometimes happens that geographically you move because of study, because of job. So you physically move, you physically connect with people, and I wrote physical manual is actually one. So relational, and you relate to those people. Sometimes you relate to the people outside. You don't need to always reach out to meet them. You definitely need to reach out to them. And sometimes you connect with people professionally, which is most of the time when you come to working life. Before that, you spend most of your time with in schools and in colleges or universities, and you spend more time in your families. And when I say you, it also means me. This is true for every human being. And uh, and then you are spiritually connected to the world outside or even beyond this. And that's very individual, very personal. And what I always believe that Gen Y has been smarter than Gen X, and Gen Z is smarter than uh, Gen Y, Gen X, all the generation, because they know a lot. They're smarter. They pick things faster. We had to go through, physically find information in the books, in the dictionaries, in atlas, the maps. Your generation is smarter. You can, while you're talking, you hear a word, you go to Google and you give the explanation in 2 minutes. Somebody wrote it on Google, right? And that's an asset which you have. Technology has brought that change, and that change has come to your hands. And what has also happened in the last 20 to 30 years is that there has been liberalization globally. So people are connecting globally to each other. There is more wealth created, especially in areas like Asia, most of Asia, of which all of us are beneficiary. And what has that done is more urbanization has happened. Uh, so families have become smaller. The children, there are one or two children. The Gen X, a typical Gen X family would be like people, even in a nuclear family, five, six, seven people with three, four, five kids, and maybe grandparents living together. It's reducing. It's not choice always, it's compulsion many times. And what has happened is that with families becoming small, there are hardly one or two kids in the family, and there's more physical space. The houses have become bigger. The things have better things have are now available more easily, comfortably. You don't have to what should I say? Put money in your piggy bank to get your hand on a phone. You tell your dad or mommy what you get it, and if you uh, and as far as possessing that is concerned, I may use this. You may be more fortunate than a few to get it at the click of your desire and what you want to eat, what you want to wear. So what that does that do? By default, a behavioral pattern is getting created, which tells that okay, you can get what you want, you can reach out to anybody you want, you can get any information you want, and most of that information is on your phone, on the screen which you use. And check out your screen time. I interact with a lot of youngsters between 15 to 25, and I see their average screen time is 4 hours, maybe, and 4 hours is minimum. Maybe average time is even more. So what is happening is that, and you are living in your own room, you're not even sharing your bed. So what happens? No, nobody's teaching you this. Nobody's telling you it is good or bad. Neither it is good or bad. It is what it is. And what has happened is that you're left in your room with your phone, in your hostel room, uh, in the apartment if you rented, if you're a university student, even a high school student, and you're spending most of your time on phone. So what happens then? What happens is that you in subconsciously become independent, and you start concluding, and the comfort gets added when you text instead of speaking. So while phone is there, and of course there are a few people you talk a lot to, but I see that there is a there is a lot of text which is happening, and and you don't want interference in your space. And when I say you, I mean anybody. My own children are your age, so they don't want anybody intruding in their space physically, mentally, emotionally. And the my life syndrome, I said, we used to, when I was younger, we used to hear the song "It's My Life," and that's become synonymous with "It's My Life, who are you?" And don't take me wrong, I'm just saying that within the nuclear family there is a small nuclear which is you, and there's hardly much after outside that. And so what happens? You see some information, you see that somebody oppressed got hurt in a country due to racism, being a woman, being flood, being what, and all this information is coming day morning. You see uh, some atrocity on women here, read atrocity on women in some part of the world. You feel pain. Suddenly you hear you see your favorite sports and you see your team won and you're happy, and then again you see that there is some, you read something about racism, and then you're sad, and then you are again sad because something happened in college or school, and then you are happy about something. So the behavioral sinusoidal wave is also moving up and down, and you're dealing with a lot of emotions which you would normally we would not have gone through those many emotions. Even when in school, even while studying, kids keep checking their phone, their WhatsApp, Insta, what, blah blah blah, right? Even I'm just right now doing that, so we are just picking those stuff from. It is convenient. Is that all information very important? I'm really not sure. What does that it create multifaceted personality, it brings in more skills, maybe less focus. And then I know the youngsters are achieving a lot, and we are very proud of you, very proud of Gen Y and Gen Z. What is happening, however, is that they are themselves becoming lonely without realizing that. And the coping mechanism is developing. And it is a development area. I mean, how would I know that? I would know that because I would be kind of physically dealing as a kid, as a youngster, as a somebody's in high school or university. I would be kind of dealing with situations real life. A lot of you are dealing with it on phone, even your personal issues on phone, texting. And most of the people you talk to are school or college friends who are also in the same zone. But yes, everybody is constructed differently. So yeah, you do get some suggestions. But actual sharing, helping, caring, these are becoming learned behaviors. Your parents also don't want to disturb you thinking you are busy in you, and then yet they have kind of accepted those behaviors at homes. And then your interactions are more on messages, instas, LinkedIn, blah blah blah. And if somebody, when somebody talks to you, you want to read because you want to cut the crab and come to the point. So what's the point? I hear a lot of youngsters talking to me, but what's the point? Duh, right? And and the point is that now is the time for you to know the point. And the next slides will take you through. So when we say behavior, now this is even pre-pandemic what I'm talking, the cause and the effect. So what is doing what? So it has created a lot of lonely youngsters, maybe globally, very strong mentally also, but not dealt with actual situations really. Patience is running out, and well, we talked about it. Next slide. And what has pandemic done? It has compounded those issues. Now it is your in engineering we call a term tampering. What happens? You heat the metal, So it becomes molten, and then you quench it with water, and then you put in heat again so that it becomes stronger. So what is happening now? The whatever amount of physical interactions were possible pre-pandemic, post during the pandemic, that's also not happening. Most of us are constrained to our rooms, hostel rooms, rented apartment rooms where we are living alone. A lot of people got stuck wherever they are. Some are okay with the family, but they see same three people for last 8 9 months, same people again and again, and that's boring too. Uh, we keep hearing people started moving a bit, and then we keep hearing of second wave, third wave, which even makes us more scarier. So what happens? We are mentally and physically scared because yeah, it is scary. And but mind keeps working. It keeps thinking about career, whether I'll be alive or not, and anxiety. What is it doing? Anxiety is increasing. One good point about this is that this is forcing a lot of behavioral change because most of us are dealing with it correctly. And thank God for that, that we are talking about it. I'm talking and you are hearing. That means we have not succumbed to COVID, right? Grateful. Next slide, please. And and few good things. As I said, there are some developmental behaviors, some behaviors set in by default. Now, some behaviors are getting corrected by default. What are those behaviors? I mean, it's making people understand and think what are the real important things. Life itself is important. We never cared for our life so much. And now a small microorganism is scaring us. That if we touch a surface, it might kill us. So, okay, well, we've started caring about our life. Now, here I'll take a pause and say, look, it is important to remain, the life is a gift, and to remain life under any circumstances is good because next day your life could change for good, forever. And a lot of youngsters are not thinking like that. They're getting desperate. Some are short on money, some think their career is, you know, pandemic has also taught one thing. You and me, all of us have created a web of desires, things we need. Actually, we did not. I mean, there are a lot of things which we were doing, which we now, even I think, have been unnecessary. Some expenditure, some even some relationships, even some people we were spending time because they got tested during the period, and also lot of vices did not were not required. What was rather required? Family, probably the love, affection, and what it is coming doing is that we have once we have understood it, we care for our family more. Even and Gen X, Y, Z here are getting unified on two things. My life is important. Life of my loved ones is important. Nobody is worth losing. Well, many of us, many of listeners might have suffered due to COVID itself. Well, I would say that you're brave, that you're hearing this, and maybe that is the reason you need to hear this, that we understand your word because it's happening all around the world. And we are with you. Now, sharing our fears, small joys. So, what happened? Again, we go to TV or news, we see there are some good news makes us good. Oh, vaccine is found. Now, Oxford vaccine is getting ready. Now, this vaccine is these small happiness, which is again life saving, puts more emphasis on life. There is one more thing which is happening. We are we are getting to see right role models. A few stars in the world of cinema, in the world of sports. They're very successful on their skill, but are their lives worth emulating? Most of the time, not. I have had favorites as youngsters. I still have. Now, do I shape my life around them or around the people who can lead me and I can see it every day. So new role models are getting created. Health and sanitation worker, doctors, nurses. Doctors have been role models for a long time. But in this period, even forces and police are in many countries and territories around the world are doing a phenomenal job. Common people, I mean, we realize that you need milk every day. So I think even all generations would know that they can't survive without that basic food, and somebody is making sure that their shop is open and you and me get it. And that there is a delivery boy who's kind of facing the heat outside, facing the scare outside, but coming to deliver every time we need it. So they are becoming real life heroes. Why not? The work is very important, and that also creates some equity of work. Now, how about it? How to think like this? If you were not thinking like this, if you are only thinking about, so our focus has moved from us to others, others, appreciating our family, appreciating our relationship, appreciating that lives of everybody is important. Next slide, please. And we also are finding that we are not alone. It's a humbling experience. We cannot deal with it alone because we may not be self-sufficient. So we need all this. So come back to the same conduit thing that, now your white conduit is becoming bigger and it is enveloping all those who are every day helping you physically, mentally, emotionally. And then the whole world is getting connected. We keep seeing some hope coming. We keep hearing wonderful stories from around the world. In India, we heard a story of a young girl, 15-year-old, drove his father on a bicycle who was injured, who wasn't well, drove him on bicycle for 16 consecutive days without much to eat and drink. Survived. She's become a national hero. And I know, for example, Philippines at the same time had typhoon, and people are braving that out. Salute to people of Philippines to do that. And we had in India also uh, at many places floods, etc. So people are dealing with all this together, and the belief of oneness of world, society, country is also coming. I think it's a good experience to for and a lifetime learning. Next slide, please. And what do we worry about? Losing an ear, losing a job, losing some money? Well, that's not more important than life, right? And you youngsters, especially Gen Y, Gen Z, you have stories. I mean, we hear in history Second World War stories and Nazi camps and blah blah blah. And some people narrate it. We still don't know them personally. We see them their videos. You are a generation which has got prepared for worst. So you become stronger. And you have stories to tell the next generation that how bravely your generation fought this physically, emotionally, mentally, financially too. So there's nothing to give up. We talked about this microorganism, it's crippling the world, right? But yes, word has dealt with most of things, and so will your word, your family, and you. Next slide, please. And what happens on the other side of the pandemic, despite the fear, despite the loneliness, despite anxiety, which had, kind of what will happen? Actually, nothing. It's all in the mind and your phone, maybe. Nothing outside. Governments have stopped. Large powers are crippled. So don't worry. Nothing wrong is happening. We go through the other end of the pandemic, and what happens? We become stronger, and well, on the other side of pandemic we have enough to cheer, enough people to cheer, enough people to cheer for you. You have your next academic year coming, for a lot of them a new job, maybe a new skill which you learned, maybe you read, and life will be, I'm sure, better on the other side, because you have become a better person and I've become a better person, and that we are connected like this, that we could talk like this. Next slide, please. And you would be proud that you are stronger You're not the one who killed himself out of ignorance to deal with pandemic or mentally wear out in the process. And when a wrong thought comes, you'll be more prepared to call your mama, papa, your brothers, sisters, your friends. And I would even say, if you could not reach out to anybody, just go out, find somebody to talk to and say, oh, I have this negative thought. What do you think? Talk to two, three, four people. I would do that. I still do that. I still pick the phone, call up if I'm distressed. I still try and reach out to people who need my help and I need their help. This learned behavior would become a natural, should become a natural behavior. If it is not, be deliberate about it. And I think Stephen Covey talked about interdependence. You don't need to be dependent. You don't need to be totally independent that you exist outside this world. The real victory, even for an individual, is in a public victory where people are interdependent, be it your parents, family, friends, word, organization. And we will learn that we will be doing the right things, not every time the happy things, that we are alive with a lot, whilst a lot of them could not, that we can get and give help. Aren't we grateful? Aren't we grateful that there is a whole life in front of you? So, what is my concluding message? My concluding message, especially to youth, is you are the asset for the generations existing and the ones to follow. The whole future of the world, also, your family, also, your society, your nation revolves around you, and how you think makes a big impact. So, think right things, think happy thoughts, and when a bad thought comes, don't text, don't conclude, call up and take advice, or just blow out that this is how you feel. I think that itself will relieve. So that learned behavior will become a default behavior, and that's the victory. Thank you very much. It's been great talking to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Anil, for sharing your advice and insights with us. Our listener took away some lessons and topics today that can help them get through their obstacles. I would like to tell about our e-certificate. So these are the steps to avail the e-certificate. Attend the full webinar. Once you see thank you displayed on the screen, there will the link to Google attendance form in the chat box. Click to mark the attendance and get the feedback from email. Fill the questionnaire that you receive from your email for the details. Follow our page on Instagram and Facebook. If the above stated steps are followed, an e-certificate will be automatically mailed to you. Thank you. Now, I would like to introduce our next speaker. Ms. Achal Chathart Alai is licensed expert in clinical psychology with 3 years of experience in the field and seasoned psychotherapist and counselor with 5 years of experience dedicated to serving patients in a meaningful way, listening to their concerns and helping them approach their mental, emotional, and behavioral problems. She has the experience of setting up and heading child psychology unit addressing personal and social needs of children and training them into healthy behavioral patterns, and has successfully conducted workshops on life skills and positive psychology with students, helping them lead a more promising life with humanity being the core belief. Ma'am, the stage is all yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayank. So, thank you for this lovely introduction, first of all, and organizing a event which is based on managing behavioral problems during this pandemic. It is also a very, very interesting topic when we understand that we can definitely manage those behavioral problems. It is definitely possible to do that. So let's understand the word behavior first. Okay, let's understand that, before moving to the idea of managing behavioral problems, let's understand where is it stemming from. Okay, the behavioral problems definitely are existing. Like, for example, if I say a lot of irritation, a lot of anger, we're not talking nicely, we're not eating well, even behavioral changes can even be, changes in your appetite and your sleeping patterns also. So any changes or anything which is, coming during this pandemic is definitely a result of something. So, according to the researchers, behavior is a product of what you think and what you feel. Okay. This is very important for us to understand that behavior is not what we actually need to change. Okay, here. But behavior is a product of what you think and how you feel about certain things. So let's introspect here first. Okay. So let's say when you're getting angry or you're getting very irritated about something. So what is the thought pattern which is going on? The thought pattern is that, oh, the things are not going my way. Why is this person not talking to me? Why didn't I, why was I not the perfect one? So maybe, when we look up and we introspect, we understand that these are the self talk, like the talk that we're having with our own self is resulting to what we, how we are behaving. Okay. So, I would, in clear words, I would say that your cognitions, I mean, the way you are thinking about things are the way, you know, including this very moment, let's say, what you're thinking about things would lead to your behavior and would lead to how you feel about things. Okay. So these thoughts actually scroll down your mind automatically. These are also called negative automatic thoughts. Okay. So and they often have a very huge impact on how we, how we behave and how we feel and how we think about things. So, and even I would say even Shakespeare expressed the similar kind of an idea in his play called Hamlet. He said that, you know for there is nothing good or bad, but thinking makes it so. But here I'm not denying the, existing or existence of bad things. I'm not denying the existence of, the impact of hormones and the changing hormones and the genes have on us. They do happen, the bad things do happen. Okay. But then when I talk about the self talk we are having with ourselves, the self affirmations, that self, you know that kind of a talk that we have with ourselves, this is what we can change. When I talk about management, management is done at our own part. And management is what we see here, management of our own self talk, our own thoughts that we give ourselves. Okay. So, further leading to what we say as behavioral problems. Okay. So, once you're able to do that, once you're able to have a change in the talk you're giving yourself, you will have a very profound and a lasting effect on how you think about things and how you feel about things, resulting in your changes in your behavior. Okay. So let's understand, how we can do that. First, let's understand how we can do that. So I have told you guys, let's have a quick recap here. It's a self talk that is a problem. It is the thoughts that we are providing ourselves that is the problem. And now we are here to how to work on this. The first process here is that first we learn to, sit with ourselves. The first process is introspection. But for introspection to happen, we need to pause. We need to, give ourselves that kind of a time that we need to understand why is it happening, what is triggering me. Okay. What is the problem? What made me feel this way? So first process is, sitting with yourself. This is the first step. The second step is turn towards yourself and turns towards the emotions that you're feeling. Okay. With a lot of acceptance here. Okay. Tell yourself when you're sitting with yourself, and tell yourself that, right now I'm going to sit with myself, I'm going to understand what is happening to yourself. Okay. What is happening to you. Okay. So this is like a mini therapy that you can provide yourself. And the first step is turning towards your own self with acceptance. Okay. Where you become aware of the emotion, you become aware of the thought that, is troubling you a lot. and identify where is it in your, where is it that you can sense it. If it is about an emotion, for example anger, if it is about irritation, then where are you feeling this in your body? Okay, is it the shoulders that you're very, you have to release the tension at? So understand where is it present. Okay, then second is identify and label that emotion. When I say identify and label the emotion, I'm saying name that emotion. Have that a friendly kind of a conversation with that emotion, where you say that, is it anger or is it anxiety that is troubling me? Name it, that this is anxiety, this is anger, this is irritation. So name that particular emotion. Then third is accept your emotion, where, you know don't deny that it is not there. Just sit there and tell yourself that it is present. Don't deny the existence of that emotion, that I'm not feeling angry, I'm not feeling irritated, it's just, I think, so you are definitely experiencing that emotion. So what I'm telling here, name it and accept that it is present within you, within yourself. Okay, and then also realize here that there's an impermanence of your emotion and the thoughts that is present. That what I'm trying to say here is that it is not going to present always, it is definitely going to pass. So you're going to comfort yourself by saying that, it is going to pass. Tell yourself that it is not going to be there forever. Okay, so this is very important. And then here is the time where you will inquire and investigate within yourself, that what triggered me, why am I feeling this way. This is very important. Okay, so this is the part where you will actually have that kind of a question answer round with your own self, where you would ask that, what is it, why am I feeling, is it because somebody didn't work up according to my expectations, this particular person didn't call me and I was expecting a call. Okay, why, what triggered me? Okay, or was I not, I was expecting to get really good marks and I was not able to get it. So, what is it that triggered me and I'm feeling this way? Having that question, that one to one thing with your own self. And then that, with this, of course, when your expectations are not met, when, bad things are happening, you definitely are feeling this way. You're feeling sad, you're feeling upset about certain things. So, let go of the need to control that emotion. Here I'm asking you to, just feel it, just be there and feel that kind of an emotion within yourself. Okay, so the entire idea here is that we improve the self talk that we have with ourselves. Okay, so one way is also called, so I have this page on Instagram named Antarmana by Anchal Alag, and here I talk about this very important concept called affirmations, and they have a very huge impact on how we think about things, how we feel about things, and how we behave in certain things. Okay, this is all about mental health here. All right, and to control this we really need to provide that positive affirmation, that positive self talk to ourselves. For example, you go, and this is not one thing that we have to understand in psychology, and also psychology is all about human behavior, right? So when I talk about psychology or any changes on in human psychology, things will come as a process that will not change overnight. It will come every day once you start practicing it. So when you're losing weight, you work on your diet, you work on your, the exercise routine. So you don't experience changes in a day, you experience changes over a period of time. Yeah, so this is what happens in psychology. You need to practice it every day, practice it and make this a part of your routine. Like for example, if I say affirmations, okay, affirmations are basically these emotional encouragements that you can provide your own self. Okay, so like for example, I am going to feel great today, I am going to accomplish, like great things today, I'm happy today. So these things are the affirmations that we provide ourselves, the positive self talk that we provide ourselves. The second important point which I really want to mention here is that a lot of behavioral problems also stem from the fact that when you're not able to give time to ourselves. Okay, it is very very important that we start giving time to ourselves. This is important because what was my first step? I said sit down with yourself and pause and introspect. So the first part is that we're so busy with our lives, we're so busy in of course I understand the world is competitive out there. There are a lot of expectations of the world from you. I understand that studying is also not a very easy task. Being a student is also a very very tough task. So I know that you have a lot of expectations. You have your friends to meet up, you have your expectations from parents, you have expectations from the college. Okay, there's so many things. So here we need to understand that we have to take care of our own self also. So in a day, take out some time where you sit with yourself, you keep aside the phone, you keep aside everything that your laptop, anything. Sit down with yourself and talk to yourself. Just not necessarily that you have to always talk, "Ki, what happened, what triggered me." Start having that conversation with yourself. Or you can just do this mirror exercise, which I often talk about. Mirror exercise is where you stand in front of the mirror, and first you just start with positively giving that yourself that positive vibe. You stand in front of the mirror and you smile at yourself. This is also going to be very encouraging for your own self. ठीक. All right. So this is where I would like to conclude today. That first, that our behavioral problems, understanding where is it stemming from, it is stemming from how we think and how we feel of certain things. Okay? This is a self talk, and think is the basically automatic self talk that we are having with ourselves. All right, so this is where it is stemming from, and to manage it, the first step is where we pause. Okay, where we introspect, then we identify where is it stemming from. We turn to what so, sorry that we turn towards that emotion with acceptance. We identify and name that particular emotion, that this is anger, this is anxiety, this is irritation, this is sadness. Okay, then we accept that emotion with with our whole heart. We say that it is a part of us, even if it is not very pleasant and even if it is very overwhelming. We accept it. Okay, and also realize that it will pass. This will automatically give you that kind of a comfort that yes, it is going to pass. It is not going to be there with you forever. And inquire here what triggered you, have that question answer round with yourself, and let go of the need to control it. Let go. Okay, and then practice affirmations. This is very important. This will help you manage your behavioral problems. And also have changes where you can also, if you feel that there are behavioral changes that you are not able to manage your own self, then seek therapy. Therapy is, I often quote this thing that therapy is not for when things become severe. Therapy is at a level where you can manage things at a very you know like a very mild level too. Okay, so don't wait for things to become severe. Take therapy when things are mild also. Okay, this is what I would pitch in as a psychologist, as a clinical psychologist here, that don't wait for things to get severe. Okay, and that's all. And I wish you all a great great life, a lot of happiness. And I think we're ready with the question answer round now. So happy to address. And if you have any other questions and you want to talk to me personally, I have my Instagram page by the name Antarmana by Anchal Alag. So you can have a question answer round with me there. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Miss Anchal, for sharing your knowledge and techniques on the subject of mental health, affirmation, mirror work, and lifestyle management. I'm sure our audience had a lot to learn and a lot to take away from your talk.
Thank you.
And now we would like to proceed with the Q&A session. So the first question for you, Miss Anchal, is how do we care for a loved one suffering from anxiety during the pandemic?
Okay, thank you. It's a very interesting question, actually. So, so first, let's understand that of course, I mean, a very good part that you understand here that the person is going through anxiety, they are going through a tough time. So the first part is even in therapy, when we are in a therapy room, when we're sitting in the therapy room, we are not told to initially start with all the techniques and all the strategies. No, we never do that. First we understand that we always have to be a good human in that area. Okay, in that space. We don't, so let's not judge, let's not have that kind of a thing that this is not right, this is wrong. So even let's be open to the idea and tell the person that it's absolutely okay what you're feeling first, making the person comfortable in their own presence, because anxiety is often a result of very prolonged level of stress the person is going. And prolonged level of stress doesn't necessarily have to be any trauma or anything, something really bad, but also can be a very worked up routine. Okay, so we're giving that, we need to give that comfort to the person that I'm here, I'm present with you, I know this is a tough time for you. Okay, I know that the emotions and things that you're feeling are very tough. All I'm here is that I'm here for you. This is important for you to know that I'm here for you. Okay, tell me how are you feeling. So first important thing is listen to the person. Okay, let the person tell what is happening with them. Okay, so listen to them, just listen. Do not put in what is your judgments, and if this is right or this is wrong or something. Just put in your the entire yours and the entire attention there. The person feels comforted by that. I think initially start with that, and later you can always have like a paired kind of a session with the person. If for example, if that's your sister or that's your friend, so what you can do in that case, that you can just go for walks together, have a little changes in the routine. That's what you can do. Listen to the person, be open to the person, just open your arms there and just say that I'm here. Okay, and have those paired sessions with them, like you can join a gym together, you can add a different routine, and that will definitely help with anxiety.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And there's another question that has been put up for you. How
Hmm.
do we connect yet draw boundaries with our family members and friends during the pandemic and at home?
Okay, thank you for the question. See, when we try to draw the boundaries here, boundaries is something that, of course, it is our own perception that we need to hold this kind of a thing. But to put forward this, we need to communicate, and communicate in a very, very polite way. Okay, so I will say that communication is the key. When, if you, for example, saying that in a family, you say that I need this room to yourself, or I understand that we all have this need for privacy, we all have this need for you know our own setup, we have that kind of a need, and it's absolutely okay. But what we need to do is we need to communicate this very politely to the other person, and when they are also in a in a position to listen to you. Okay, that's when you communicate. So you communicate that I would need this kind of a time with myself, and you be open to this idea. If one day they're not understanding, maybe the second day they will understand that you have this need. I think communicating is the only way, a healthy way of telling that you need this kind of a thing. Yeah. So I think that is what would help. Communication is the key here. So, but communication, remember, in a very polite and a nice way, that is going to help.
Thank you so much once again, ma'am. And the next question that we have is for Sir. How do we remain positive when our family members are suffering from COVID?
Uh, well, one thing is that uh, they will need your care also. And at the same time, you need to protect yourself and those members uh, who are not yet affected. So, one thing to stay positive itself is that you are not affected. One, say this to yourself, you thank God you are healthy and pray for their health. That's what I would say. So, behaviorally, how human mind functions, I would know less. But I can tell you what I do in situations like this, or how I see people keeping a positive attitude deal with situations like this. So, I mean, being grateful that you are healthy, being grateful that you can take care of them, being grateful that you could uh, amass some help, and at the same time take every care that you don't get infected. And what I would say that uh, that needs a lot of focus, attention, and caution. And uh, then staying healthy also becomes a responsibility, if I may say so. And encouraging and keeping so. I somewhere read, that feelings and action go together. It's very hard to directly control the feelings, but it's easy to control certain actions. And by directly controlling the actions, indirectly, we affect our feelings. So you do physically do right things, when you need to do right things. Sometimes when you do right, most of the time, when you do right things, right outcomes start becoming visible, which makes you subconsciously also do right things. And that's what creates positivity. And I would say that remove focus from you to the ones that in the family needing help, and taking all the caution, making sure they get all the help which they do, itself is a very positive step. And that will create a lot of pride, satisfaction, happiness in you.
Thank you so much, sir. The second question that we have for you is, how do I restrict and limit my screen time?
Uh, I mean, it's not so. Somebody asked me once how to not smoke, for example, or how can I reduce smoking? He was addicted to it. So I'm saying anybody who's on screen is it's not that bad. So what are you looking at screen? So what I would do rather is to uh, work out what is my next goal, what I am looking forward to. Where am I headed at end of this year, end of this quarter, end of this month today? And then plan my day or month or quarter or year onto activities which will bring me near to that most important goal. And if you're not clear about that goal, what are two, three, four important things which are important to you, which need attention? And prioritizes what you do. And if screen time is a part of it, it's fine. And if you need screen time to still share and care, it's fine too. And beyond that, so I've been doing it for myself for 30 plus years, that I jot down almost everything which I need to do in a day. I jot down everything I need to, most of things I need to do in a month or a year, for example. And they change. So changes my focus. So what I would say, that I always say that keep the main thing the main thing. What is your main thing in the day, in the month, in the quarter, in the year? That will get attention. If it is not there, find it. Read. If you're still not clear, read something, maybe. Read something off screen, maybe. So that's what I would take a few steps to kind of curb my habit.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. And the third question that we have for Miss Anchal is from Jennifer. What if the person suffering from depression has refused to communicate with others and opt to isolate? What the family members and friends should do to help?
Okay. So here, I think first, if the person has chosen this way, I think the first step here is that we seek professional help. Here is not, here the family isn't, can't do much here right now. Okay. Here the person, if the person has started to isolate and be with their own presence and, you know, you know, stopped talking to people and that has gone low, so then I understand that the symptoms of depression has gone high here. Okay, so here it is a time for us to seek professional help and seek that, things go in a very professional way. So this is what, and I, the person, for example, if that person is close to anybody in the family, that person pitches his idea of seeking a professional help, and that is where I think we should start with. Okay, this is the first step here. If the person has that symptoms has gone very high. Okay, so yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And the third and last question that we have for sir is, how do we handle kids Please give us some ideas on how to engage with them at home because their behavior has completely changed.
Okay. So, sometimes depends how old the kids are. I mean, most of the times it will. So, uh, when they are very young, say maybe up to 10, 11, uh, they get engaged with a lot of physical activities you do with them, play, read with them, play some indoor, outdoor games with them, so that their energy, inquisitiveness is meaningfully utilized. But when they grow up, and I see kids grow up faster now, so at 14, 15, uh, a kid is as intelligent as adult. So one thing is, I would say that instead of dealing with them, engage with them correctly, listen to them, and understand your kid.
Hmm.
Because you might have two different kids, and each of them may are could be different from each other. So you cannot apply what you apply to the first one, who's 3 years elder, and the same thing to the second one, who's 3 years younger, because he has to become that age 3 years later. And sometimes while dealing with our kids, we deal all ages, all different behaviors, all different questions in the same way. So my kids taught me that they are different from each other. They need individual attention, and they are also together against me, for example. So when it comes to keeping their flag up, it's together. They're together. So, but I mean, that also can be uh, handled. I think a lot of discussion is required, and that's what you call family time. So it could be meaningful conversation. You be the first one to hear. I know as an adult sometimes it is difficult to do that. The moment you start doing it, things will start becoming better because they want to be heard. They don't want to be judged. They don't want to be named a particular behavior person or the way you've been thinking maybe. I have changed. So I've changed because my kids, uh, well, I mean, they also grew up well, and so there is a lot to listen from them, actually learn from them. Be prepared for that, and once you are open, I think free communication starts taking place, and then nothing has to be managed.
Thank you so much, sir. And once again, I would like to give a huge thanks to our speakers today for sharing their knowledge and important advice with us. Understanding behavioral changes amongst other health issues and concerns and managing it on a daily basis is a need of the hour. With the growing change in the world, more empathy and disseminating the right information for behavioral management is imperative. So, thank you once again, Mr. Anil and Ms. Anchal, and thank you so much, audience, for attending the webinar. However, before wrapping up the session, I would like to introduce you all to our Philippines ambassador and our Philippines ambassador leader. Mayank Soni is our Philippines ambassador. Mayank is pursuing post graduation in MBA with specialization in international business from Sri Balaji University, Pune. He has taken a keen interest in indulging with people and has his own music band named Harmony. He has also worked with several organizations such as Art of Living. Next, we have our Philippines ambassador leader, Julius Ian Valdez. Julius is our Philippines ambassador leader. He's an IT student from the Polytechnic University of Philippines, STO, Thomas Batangas. He's a photojournalist and has volunteered for several organizations and has a passion for public service. We're glad to have you both on the platform with us. Lastly, I would like to reiterate the steps to avail the e-certificate. Attend the full webinar. Once you see thank you displayed on the screen, There will appear a link to the Google attendance form in the chat box. Click to mark your attendance and get the feedback form mailed. Fill the questionnaire that you receive on your mail for the details and follow our page on Instagram and Facebook. If the above stated steps are followed, an e-certificate will be automatically issued to you. And you can contact us through any of the above mentioned platforms with your questions, feedback, and suggestions. Stay tuned and see you on next Sunday. Thank you.